Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here, we successfully updated all that our field and also updated all that our name, right? So now from to this position, there is one of the form, and here there is our submit button, and in the submit button, there is our one of the form I have created on the route as the store employee attendance. And then in our web, into the web area, I have created one of the method as an attendance store. In our employee attendance controller, I have created this one, right? That is our method. So as I told you friend before, a lot of the time that is our post method. So when you use that post method, also here we have to pass that our requested data, right? That means the request and then the dollar request. So that will be as a request and the dollar request. So now first of all I want to do here, we have to get that multiple data. We have to get that multiple employee data. So that is our employee data. I make it as a array, as an empty array, and also from to this position I pass that all that key. Key is means for our this field as a attendance status field, right? So now we have to do, first of all, better I take one of the variable. I take that variable as a count. Okay, I name it as a count employee. So this type of one of the variable I take, and now I with this count function, so I use that count function. So with this count function I want to do and to get all that our count our this array. Okay, that means this employee ID. I take one of the hidden field. So now that is actually our employee ID. So there's the request. So here I would do to get that request. So our this request as a employee ID. Okay, so I simply first of all take it. And after that, obviously, we have to add one of the for loop. Because of all, first of all, it will be looping at for this employee, and then there is another loop, there is another loop. Automatically, this loop will be running and take all that our employees, that is attendance status for this employee, right? So I want to do and to add one of the for loop. That is a for loop, and better I want to put one of the note for you. That is our AND method. Okay, that is our AND our this method. Okay, that is our AND method. So I add one of the for loop. Into the for loop area I pass this our count, which I get that things from our this employee ID. So here I simply pass it, and after that I want to do, if you go to our table, so into the database here, into the database table, we have to get that date, we have to get that attendance status, right? And then I have already take that as a employee ID as a hidden field. I take it. So I want to add, that is our requested employee ID, take it, and then I add that for loop. Into the for loop area, first of all I want to take another variable as a for the attendance status. I take that variable, name it as attendance, attend underscore status. Okay, I name it as attendance status. So now with this attendance status here, I want to add that our here I name it. I name this as a field, all that field that is a present, for the leave and for the absent. I name it as attends, and then there is also one of the key. So now I add it. So that is our attend, and then our this key will be our this that is our for loop. Here I take that by default one of the I. Okay, it will be started it, and automatically it will be as a 1. That means 1 by 1 it will be get all that our data, right? So I take that things with this variable. So now we have to pass it. So after that I want to do and to make it as a concrete our this I. Okay, I hope it's very much clear to you. And after that I want to insert all the data from which table. I want to insert all the data in our employee attendance table. So for the employee attendance I have also created one of the model, and also I support this model. That is our model as the employee attendance, right? So now I want to do here, I take one of the variable as attend, and then I create that object of this model. So that is our employee that attends model, right? So I simply create it. Perfect. And after that our field, that means with this attend I want to access our field, our database field name as a date. First of all I take this date. So that is our date, and date will be how I make it as a one of the date format. I want to insert this data with this year, month, and the date. Okay, so now I make it as a year, and then as a month, and then the date. You can also change it if you want to insert this data with this date, month, and the year. You can change it from to this position. Okay, so I want to save it, and with this star to and then time, right? Star to time, that means with this star to time, that will be our requested one, our requested name, I have also added for this there is a attendance date and name it as a date, right? That will be our requested one. So now with this request I want to pass out this date. Okay, perfect. And after that I want to add our another field with this attend. With this attend I want to add that our another field name in our database. Into the database field name, that is our employee ID. Okay, so that is our employee ID, and this employee ID will be our which one? That will be our hidden file. That means the request. So into the request, with this request I have passed that one of the hidden field as a hidden field here. You can see there is an employee ID, right? So I name it as employee ID, and also there is a array, then empty array, because here it will be received that multiple data. So I make it as an employee ID, and after that employee ID I want to make it our array data. Array data will be right now our this I, right? So now I simply pass it, that is multiple, all the data will be loaded on here. And after that our another field as a attend. So with this attend I want to now access our another database field as a attendance status. Attend status, I copy it, so that will be as a attend status, and attend status will be our requested. That means the request. Okay, requested all that our attend status. So here I take this all that our attend status. So that is our attend status, and also I take that things on here, and I take that things with this variable, actually this one. So now I simply pass it. That means this variable. Okay, so here we have to pass this variable with this request variable. Okay, perfect. And after that I want to save this data, that is attend. I think, friend, it's very much clear to you. It's not much complicated. It's very easy, one of the process. So I simply pass all the data. Because of all attendance status field that I have already take it with this multiple data, and I take the things with this variable. That means in our attendance status field area, that means in our database, this status field area, it should be loaded all that our multiple array data. Okay, that means when it should be as a present, it should be saved that as a present. When it should be as a absent, it should be saved as a absent, right? Because here I have already passed that value as a present, and then the leave and the absent. Okay, so now I simply take it, that will be our requested one, and then after that I save this data, and then that is our and for loop. So better I put some of the note as and for loop. Okay, so that is our and for loop. And after that, if you want to display some of the notification, that means a successful notification, you can display it. Better I want to take some of the things from our employee registration. In the employee registration, maybe I use this notification. You can see there is a clear notification message. Now I copy it. I copy one of the notification, and here after this I paste it. Okay, so that will be our notification, and notification will be displayed as a employee attendance. Okay, employee attendance data updated or inserted successfully. Okay, so whatever you choose, you can actually update that things on here. So that will be our message, and that will be one of the success message. And then when it should be successfully done, that is a return redirect to the route. So view route I have also created, and here you can see I have also created that view route that will be redirected to our employee attendance view page. So now I copy it, and that will be as a employee attendance view page. It should be redirected with this notification, and then our and method. Okay, perfect. So friend, that's all we have to do. So now if everything okay, it should be insert this data in our database table, or if we get any error, then we have to solve it. Okay, so now don't worry about it. So now it should be inserted all the data in our employee attendance table. Now let's check this out. If you now click the save all, and now go there. Now I refresh it. Okay, I refresh it. So right now that is the attendance date. So I select one of the date. I want to take one of the presentation, that means I am present for the, take it December 1. Okay, December 1. So that is all that our employee, and into the employee that is a present. By default everything is a present. So now I want to make it as a Hassan 3 as a leave. Okay, and then test user I make it as a absent, and rest of this present, and also that is our another one I make it as a absent. So there is the two user is a absent, and then one is a leave, and there is all that is a present. Okay, so now I simply updated that part, and I take this attendance for our specific December 1. Okay, So now if you click as if everything okay, it should be inserted this data. Now click as a submit. Wow, you can see they have no error. It's now successfully inserted this data. That is the employee attendance data inserted successfully, and also it's now redirected to our view page, right friend? Perfect. So here I only display that ID for the business is now display that ID. Now if you go to our attendance, that means the employee attendance, now click as a browse. Yes, you can see there is all that employee ID data. So as I told you friend, there is a 22 employee ID data, means if you go to our user table and you can see there is a 22. So that is actually the user, right? So this user is perfect. There is a date. I take it all the date, as you can see there is all the date as a 1. That means the December 1 is now visible, and there is the status is also updated as a 22 employee as a leave. There have one of the absent, there have some of the user as a present, and there have another one as a absent, right? Perfect. So now if you want to display this date, because later you will actually group by all the data with this date, like here there is our date, right? So now what to do, in our view page, into the view page, that is our ID number, employee ID number, there is a date. Here if you want to visible it, you can also visible it. Better I want to actually create it, like that is our user name, there is a user ID number, and there is a date, right? So we have to create one of the relationship, as I told you before. I think at that point you already know about it. So that is our employee, that is the employee attendance. In the employee attendance, if you go to that view, because I have also get all the data, right? I have get this data, and here all the data, there is the employee ID, that is our order by. So now we have to create this relationship with our user table. That means in our employee attendance, here I want to create one of the function. I name it as a public, and then function, and then I name it as a user. Okay, I name it as a user. So that will be our function. So with this user, that will be as a return, and then this, and then that will be as a belongs to with our which one belongs to with our user table, right? So that will be our user table, and with the user table class, and here in our employee attendance, into the employee table, attendance table, that is actually employee ID, right? So this employee ID will be matched with our user table, this ID, right friends? So now we have to actually, we did this work before a lot of the time. So that will be our field name as employee. Okay, employee underscore ID. So this will be matched with our user table ID. Okay, so perfect. So that is the simple relationship we have to develop. That is our employee ID. Make the spelling is correct. That is our employee ID. Okay, employee underscore ID. So that is the perfect. So here I have created that relationship. Right now we can actually get this data. That means, you know, with this employee attendance, I pass this data, and also into this model area, I have created that relation with our user table. So now I want to visible that name. That means if you go to our view page again, into the view page, first of all there is a serial number will be loaded, and then the name will be with this value, because here I pass all the data from to this position. There is all the data, I pass it in our employee attendance view page. So that is our view page. So into the view page area, I take it with this, and then there is our value. So now with this value, I have created that relationship. As a user, right? I have created that method or method name as a user. So now with this user, I want to visible that our username, that will be our field name as a username, and also after that there is a ID number. So that will be just like that same. Here I want to do with this user, I want to display our field name. Our field name for the ID number is maybe ID underscore number. That is actually, you can see that is our ID underscore number. So now I want to visible as a ID underscore number. Okay, not that number, not that, only that number. Okay, so that is actually ID underscore number. Perfect. And after that there is a date is actually comes from our this table. That means our employee attendance table. Into the employee attendance table, that is actually the date, right? So now we can actually use it directly. That will be our date, and that is our date, and that is our attendance status. Attendance status field name, our field name as a attendance underscore status. Better go to that structure. Into the structure, I copy it. That is our field name, right? So that will be as a attendance status. Perfect. So now it should be displayed very well. Now click as a save all, and now go there. Now refresh it. Yes, perfect. So that is all that employee name is visible, the ID number is visible, date is visible, right? And also there is attendance that is showing as a absent, present, absent, and leave. So I want to change that date format. Okay, here I don't want to actually display this type of. First of all, I want to display that date, then the month, and then the year. So if you want to change it, you can change it like with this date. Okay, with this date, I want to use that date format will be as a date, and then the month, and then the year. Okay, and then the star. So here we have to add that as a star to time into the star to time area. We have to pass this value name. So I cut it, and here I simply passed it. Great. So that's all you have to do. Now if you click the save all, now I want to check it. Let's refresh. Yeah, you can see it's now updated. First of all, it's now showing as a date, and then the month, and then that is our year. So now that is, you can say I updated that attendance status. That is actually attendance status. So here we have to update it into the date area, right? So better I want to copy it. I copy it and I paste it. So that will be not that attendance status, that will be as a date, right? And here we don't need to update anything. I remove it. And then also here I remove it. So that will be actually value our attendance status. Attendance status will be as a present, absent, and that is our date format. Now will be updated as a date, month, and the year. Okay. Now click the save all. Now refresh it. Yeah, perfect. Our attendance status is updated, and that is all that our date. You can see first of all date and the month and the year. So I have take that attendance for our one, that means our first December. So now I want to take another day, another attendance. Click as add attendance. So now I want to take it as a 2 or 3. Okay, I make it as a now 3. There is a 3rd December as a 2020. So that is all that present. I make it some of the as a leave, and some of them I make it as a absent, and then that is actually our present. Okay, so now I click as a submit. Yeah, you can see it's now successfully submit, and now there is our another one as a 3. You can see for the 3 all that attendance is updated. So there is a multiple one is downloaded, and also if you want to take another one, I want to take another one for the date 4. Okay, that means the 4th December. I make it every field as a present. That means every employee as a present. Now click as a submit. So now there is our another one is inserted, and there is our date 4, right? So there is our date for all the data, there is our date 3 all the data, and also there is a designation is started, and you can see that is all that our date 3, and that is a date 1. Perfect. So friend, I hope you can well understand about it, what exactly the things here we have to do. Here we have to actually make it get this data with this date. Okay, that means here we have to make it as a group by data. That means I want to take all that our group by date 1 data. That means the 1 December, this 1st December, all that attendance I want to take. I want to take all that our 3rd December, all that group by data I want to take. Okay, so here we have to make it as a group by all the data, and here I want to visible it. And also here we have to edit it, and for the edit that will be little bit different, because of all only one time you should take that attendance, right? So that is the edit portion. I will also show you that things with the live example. So better I want to continue this process. See you in the next video. First of all, I want to get all that our group by the date data, and then we will actually edit it. Okay, so how can do that work very easily? In our next video I will show you that things with the live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.